Have a brand new video here for you guys, so hope you like it. Our new segue in. Not much going on in the East, really. Still, we have James Neal signed a PTO with Columbus. Connor, you definitely added this because when you texted us about it, I don't even think I answered. I was like, I don't think there's something I could care about less, but it's James Neal. Maybe he's going to be on the fourth line of the Blue Jackets, I guess, is what you're telling us.
He's going to be way higher in the lineup than the fourth line.
He does, though. He's a guy who
score.
Yeah.
He just can't play defense. That's all.
He could be on their third line and just shoot the puck in the net on the power play, but I don't know if that's even going to happen. Can he still skate?
Absolutely. He did play with St. Louis last year in a couple games before going into the AHL, where I think he put up 30-ish points in the AHL after he went down.
I'll fact check you. Kev, you have anything on James Neal or no? You don't have to if you don't. I
have nothing.
It was an absolutely useless topic, but I just want to respect Connor's wishes.
If we were talking about jersey numbers.
He played 19 games. I agree. He played 19 games, and St. Louis had 4 points. He had 26 points in 28 games for the Springfield Thunderbirds. So he's an AHL player. That's all right. Maybe he'll go be good on Columbus. They're pretty much an AHL team.
He should come to Boston then.
Jesus Christ. Everybody come to Boston.
Everyone should
You're
come to
old
Boston.
and want a $750,000
I was making an
contract.
AHL player joke, guys. Calm down.
Oh, okay.
It didn't make sense. All right. Tage Thompson, 7 years, $50 million.
Trigger warning.
Tage Thompson got paid. Connor, how do you feel about this contract?
Overpaid.
This is a terrible contract.
Ooh.
Terrible. So Tage Thompson hasn't looked good, period, since the Ryan O'Reilly trade up until this last year, in my opinion.
I was going to say he had a decent year.
He literally has looked like a baby elephant on skates. He's a massive human being. And this last year, he finally put it together for some points.
Dude, I'm looking at his stats right now, and I'm dumbfounded.
So this year,
timeout. So this year, he had 38 goals, 30 assists for 68 points. I get that. The year before, oh my God. He has never scored 10 goals before.
Yes.
This is the problem.
Jeff Skinner 2.0 in Buffalo.
This is the problem. Yes, did he deserve a raise? Yes. A bridge deal raise. Prove it for 2 years. What if it wasn't real? What if he isn't that guy? And I get it. You can't just suck and score 38 goals. But God damn it, we saw William Karlsson not be able to do it. We saw Jeff Skinner not be able to keep doing it. Some guys, it's just... We'll see. When teams start respecting Buffalo and playing them a little different, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. 6'7". Dude,
so
I know. He's lanky. He's 6'7", 218, dude. That's like being 5'8", 135.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, what? 218 at 6'7" is not that's skinny.
It's not a a big war horse there by any means.
He's not a chunky boy, that's for sure.
That's almost like Chris Sale level.
Yes, that's what that's what he looks like on the ice. He looks like a pitcher.
So let's actually talk about this dude's contract here for a bit. So no harm, no foul on Tage Thompson getting the bag. Like if somebody threw that kind of money in front of me because I magically got 68 points in an NHL season, absolutely I would have taken that money. So I've heard a lot of discourse in a lot of different areas that the general consensus in the NHL between like players, player management, and then staffing, on the side of the teams is that every 10 points that you produce is worth roughly $1 million in today's NHL contract.
That's
so
bananas.
68 points in a season works out to close to $7 million a season. But
you're actually right. Like, as much as I want to tell you you're wrong, if you really think about it.
Yeah, if you look at all the contracts.
So I would say it's wrong between 10 to 25. Once you get to like 30 points and above, it's right on. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Like, I think 10 to 25 is still disposable. But once you get to 30 and up, I think you're pretty right. It's like 3, 4, 5.
So that's kind of where, and we're going to talk about this later from the Stars owner, but that's where you see like the superstars in the top echelon, you know, they're getting paid. They're getting all of the money. The middle guys are typically the ones kind of getting squeezed, in your bottom of the barrel or making the same amount of money. Tage Thompson arguably should be in the middle guys getting squeezed on a 2-year, $5 million
deal
contract.
Yeah. He's not a bad player. Like I do want to say that. He's not a bad player.
But
it's just too much.
He's not a great player either. He hasn't proved that he can be a great player. And that's kind of like the new culture in the NHL with driving.
It started with Jack Hughes.
It's driving the marketing towards these younger players, making them, you know, the people in the franchise. This was kind of inevitable to happen, that they're going to be paid more. But dear Lord.
They're looking at them more as like a positive equity business asset than they are players in some regard when you're saying that. Like, it's like Zegras, right? The NHL is just knee deep in Trevor Zegras. And he's going to make so much money off endorsements and stuff. And I think Zegras is a hell of a player, and he will back it up. I really do.
You know what's crazy?
But he hasn't yet.
If you go back and look at the contract that the Bruins signed Taylor Hall to, compared to this Tage Thompson deal, they are super similar. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, Taylor Hall has the track record to deserve it. We're just we're gonna see it. But there's also things. You saw me gesturing like this when you're talking. I thought you were going a different direction. The cap's going up.
Yeah.
So these deals, these $7 million deals are going to look like 5.5s in a couple of years. So by the back end of this deal, it's like for a long time, we said like the back end of these deals are going to look terrible. If the NHL keeps growing, the back end of these deals are going to look fine.
And the NHL is growing a lot.
Yeah. Hockey's growing. TNT and ESPN are going to grow the game. There was a time where I bet you most people don't even really like realize this, that are new age hockey fans, right? But the NBA wasn't always the big conglomerate that it is. The NBA was struggling in the early 90s, even with Michael Jordan and all those guys, just to really drive things. And the TV deals that they got and the marketing that they put behind their brand blew it up into what it is today, which is an amazingly successful sports league. I think the NHL is looking at that model, and they're going to start to follow it. As you see these young guys, they're building their personalities. The Austin Matthews, the Trevor Zegras, these guys are going to build into personalities. They're also going to market the shit out of them, and they're going to allow like a guy like Paul Bissonnette to cover games on a national scale and talk about his hoop and taking shots of Pink Whitney and smoking a joint. This is the stuff, as much as like the PC culture doesn't want to see it, it's what grows the game. And there's nothing, I don't think hockey needs to be this cultured thing that it is in a way, like the negative side of hockey culture, right? I don't think it doesn't need to be that way, but there is there is some rawness to hockey. And I think the more we see that, the more it's going to grow. And yeah, I do think the game's in a good place for that.
And I agree with you there. Just from the numbers perspective, Bill Daly did an interview with 32 Thoughts, the podcast, a week or two ago. And he made some comments that the cap could potentially go up, $3 to $4 million this year and next year. And then there's been rumor that they are projecting about a $10 million jump in 2025.
Like big jump.
So 3 years down the road, the NHL salary cap could nearly be $100 million in 3 years.
And even like it's funny because like the game even knows that. Like if you play on NHL, like it jumps the cap. The cap gets into the hundreds quick. The cap jumps because it's just the projections of it. And so you get the cap up $14 million from where we're at right now in the next 5 years. That's 2 more star players on your team. It is going to work out, I think. I hope, unless we get hit with the monkeypox and then the cap has to go flat.
So right now, like what I think is going to be wild, because I'm going to completely ignore that comment, is if you look at a team like Montreal, right, or Ottawa, who are bringing in this really young talent and they're locking them up for a good long time, they are going to be killer teams when the cap goes up in the NHL, because they will have the benefit of, you know, the Nathan McKinnon style contracts, or the Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, you know, long-term low money deal that just look better and better and better. You know, that's going to be a big thing for some of these teams. And then of course, teams that are in the top of the barrel, like the Bruins, the Golden Knights, etc., they're really just getting a bailout and cap relief by the cap going up every year. They're not really going to super benefit like some of these rebuilding teams, but the cap going up only benefits everybody. You know, us as fans, media that cover the game, like, this is good for us. The entertainment value is going to go up. The revenue of the league will go up. This will just make everything that much better into the NHL being able to compete with, you know, the MLB, NBA, and the NFL on those TV screens.
Agreed. Next topic. Let's get moving here. We got too deep into the cap. Just kidding. We're both kind of capologists. Big updates coming to Cue the Duck Boats. Inside the rink. Inside the rink too, around the cap. We definitely want to get a little deeper into the cap, and I think Connor's going to really be headlining that coverage of the cap. We do have a little rumor mill Kevy for us. Little rumor mill Kev. Kev, hit us with the rumor that you heard coming around a certain Rangers player.
Yes, a very disgruntled young defenseman.
Young Buck.
Nils. What?
Young Buck.
Nils Lundkvist. He wants out. He wants to go to a team. He wants to be a top 4 guy. He wants to be the QB of Power Play 1. And he's just not going to get that in New York. He's a right-hand defenseman. There's 3 guys in front of him right now. So,
and many more on the way.
Exactly. So he sees the writing on the wall. He's like, I'm not coming to camp. I want out before camp. And the big name that's after him is Montreal, continuing to get these younger guys and rebuild out there up in Canada. Interesting to see what Montreal will give up for him, but
I mean, for Montreal, it does make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, another young, skilled defenseman.
And of course, and Jeff Gordon drafted that guy.
Yeah. What happened was Massachusetts people went up to freaking Montreal and they rebuilt the whole damn organization.
And it is working. Now, to kind of piggyback on the Lundkvist trade there, with hearing Montreal, I've also heard that they're interested in Vitaly Kravtsov, who's on the Rangers, who requested a trade last year. Obviously, the Rangers are looking for help up front in the scoring capacity. You know, I wouldn't put it past them if you see a package of like Nils Lundkvist and Vitaly Kravtsov going to Montreal for, you know, a second-round pick and Mike Hoffman.
Yeah,
you know?
That maybe or get that done. I mean, that helps the Rangers right now.
You have 2 players who want out, who you're just signing 1 year, walking them to UFA.
Yeah, they're not getting a first, that's for sure.
No, not at all. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And, I mean, for everybody else in the Atlantic, seeing the amount of really good, young, talented players that Montreal is compiling right now, you got to be concerned. I mean,
big concerned.
There's still rumors out there that Pierre-Luc Dubois wants to play in Montreal.
Listen, I think it would be ignorant for anyone to think that Montreal was going to stay bad for much longer. Yeah. They're the Montreal Canadiens. It's that simple. They're the most historical franchise in the NHL. They weren't going to stay bad. And hockey is better when the Montreal Canadiens are good. The Atlantic is best if it's sitting there and Toronto, Boston, and Montreal are all wagons. That's good. Like, that's rivalry, great hockey. Throw in Detroit. I mean, if you want the 4 best teams market-wise to be there and be winning
and the New York Rangers.
The Rangers aren't. The Rangers aren't in the Atlantic. They're in the Metro.
No, but in the top hockey markets.
Yeah, no, you want those teams to be good. It's like I don't, even as a Bruins fan, which I am, I want the Canadiens to be competitive. Like I want Bruins Canadiens games to be a friggin' war. Like that's so. I don't really. I'm happy for the Canadiens to get better. I really am.
And it's like side tangent on Montreal. For everybody who's a fan of a team that is on the cusp of needing to rebuild, like I'm sitting here as somebody who, you know, is a Boston Bruins fan watching this, and I'm like,
yeah,
slam the desk. Here we go. Like this team can manage to do all of this, and here we have us and Don Sweeney, and we can't figure it out. It's like, man, like you have to be so happy right now to be a Montreal Canadiens fan. Yes, last year was painful. This year might be as well, but dear Lord, you are putting pieces in the cupboard to have a successful organization.
100%. Definitely are. That kind of wraps it up for the East.